Hello. It is so wonderful to have all of you here. Happy Tuesday, wherever you're joining us. But today's conversation is one that I have been looking forward to. I'm really excited to introduce you to two friends. We're going to have a really deep dive discussion on something that I think many of us watching can relate to and can definitely learn something from. I'm actually looking forward to. I'm actually here with pen and paper, and I'm going to be taking some notes because today is all about entrepreneurs and how we can really pay attention to ourselves, practice self-care so that we not only benefit our businesses but ourselves and our future growth as well. So I'm really excited to introduce two friends to you, two experts in the space. Sofiya is here and Janine is here, two Wonder Women, and we will make sure to include their bios throughout this chat. But most importantly, we want to welcome these two wonderful lady experts to our panel today. We're going to lead this discussion. There's a lot that we've been hearing about. I think we're going to do, Sofiya, when I think about the topic of self care, right? You and I have seen all over social media. I mean, we came to know each other from being on the Adobe Council together. And I think being that we're so active on social, you're probably seeing as well as I am some discussions, like some negative activity, some negative commentary, and people really saying that right now I'm hurting, I'm stressed out mentally, physically, and financially. Um, what do you say when you hear that, and especially when you see it on social? How do you how do you sort of like I don't know when you're listening, like how does that make you feel, and how do you work from out of that?
Yeah, yeah. And Winnie, we know that social can be a double-edged sword, right? It can provide comfort and community, but it can also spur anxiety and a sense of uncertainty. So I think as I've been going through my news feed and hearing from friends and fellow entrepreneurs, there's a very palpable sense of uncertainty, of not knowing what tomorrow will bring, not knowing what the next few months will bring. And I think at the same time as we've been seeing this uncertainty and this fear and this anxiety, we've also been seeing people really coming together to support one another. And I think that's been the thing that I've really been kind of choosing to focus on and wanting to amplify, is that even though we're physically isolated right now, even though all of us are under a lot of stress, even though these are kind of unprecedented times, what does it mean to show up for one another as a true friend and advocate and helper? What does it mean to show up as a member of a community right now and someone who can really be there for others and have others be there for them instead of kind of deepening into that sense of isolation?
Yeah, that's such a great point, Sophia. You're right. I mean, I think many of us have really experienced isolation for like the first time because in the past, maybe many entrepreneurs out there maybe do live by themselves or work as a solopreneur, but they always had the ability to go out there. They could meet another entrepreneur or a mentor or an advisor for coffee or lunch, and they could get together with their mentor group. Maybe they could go to a fireside chat in their local community. Janine, when you're looking at this concern, this sort of like very rapid shift, if you will, how do you think about your day? Like, what do you think entrepreneurs should be doing today to really practice self care so that they can reduce stress and anxiety? Do you have any like philosophies in this area?
I do. It's something I live every day. So every day I get up really early and I take a walk. So I think it's really important to focus on your self-care. So if you're taking care of your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health, then you can be good to the other people in your life, including the colleagues or whoever you're interacting with, because it's your time to tune into the things that are going to make you tick, the things that are going to make you productive and happy. And self-care is essential for me.
I can see that. I mean, I know that you've done a lot of work in this area with your radio show and now with your book.
Mhm.
So this is really exciting. I guess, Sophia, when you think of self care, why do you think self care is so difficult for entrepreneurs? Are we just not programmed for self care?
This is a question that's very close to my heart. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, so I spend a lot of time getting to observe entrepreneurs, and of course, I'm one myself as well. And I think the thing I've noticed about entrepreneurs is that they are constantly thinking about how to improve and grow, build their businesses, attract new clients, be better and better at what they do. I think of it as a wonderful obsession, right? But I think the shadow side of that is that we can become so single-minded sometimes about what we're in the process of building and what we're striving towards, that everything else kind of falls away. So things as simple as having regular meals, getting enough sleep, catching red flags about your mental health, all of that kind of falls away because we're so single-minded. But the truth is, and it took me a long time to learn this, and I still need regular reminding, the truth is that when you're pushing yourself to perform at such a level, and when you're so motivated and so driven, that's actually when you need self-care the most, right? You think of like a competitive athlete. Competitive athletes have to make sure that their nutrition and their state of mind and their health is really top notch because they're pushing themselves to perform at such a level. And so I really draw that parallel between kind of a professional athlete and an entrepreneur and say, great, go after the things you want, be driven, but at the same time, understand that you need to create supports for yourself to maintain that kind of fire.
I love that, Sophia.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. I mean, I know like in our industry, in the financial industry, certainly stress is at an all-time high, and it certainly continues to be. Let's get the viewer sort of an idea of your personal situation right now. I know, Sophia, you've just started a business in this very stressful time. Let me ask you this: Are you home alone? Do you have other people around? Sort of, what does your sort of workplace look like right now?
Yeah. So I've always worked from home, so that hasn't been as much of an adjustment for me as I know a lot of other people are in the process of working remotely for the first time. But so I've always worked at home. I've been splitting my time between my husband and my place and my family home. So we have kind of an isolation cell there. It's been really important for me to kind of stay connected with my parents and to make sure I'm there for them, but then also going between them and my home. I have really been prioritizing my friends and my family, even if I can't be with them one-on-one, staying connected and having that be the priority, even as I'm trying to get my new business off the ground.
I can totally understand that. What about you, Janine? How does sort of your workplace look like these days?
It looks like a sitcom.
Does it? I was going to guess that because I know usually.
I'll elaborate.
I mean, Janine, usually you're back and forth at the university as well as a radio
That's
station.
right.
So
Yes.
this must be a big difference for you.
It is. I mean, I do voiceover work, so I have a studio here, and I've had it for years, so I can do voiceover. So now I'm producing my show remotely, and I'm doing pre-recorded interviews any day of the week, different times. I also launched a new series to help people find work called Outside the Box. So on one side of the room, I'm in my little recording booth. On the other side, I'm doing Zoom, editing video, and also trying to be a good parent, a good spouse, taking the dog out. I'm just trying to have a balance and also walk the talk, because I talk about gratitude and being thoughtful to others and thoughtful to yourself and having flow in your life. And it's really important to have that balance. And if I feel a little off, it's because I'm not balanced and I'm not doing the things I need to do or present for my family, for colleagues, or whomever.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not driving to work anymore. That's got to be really different. I mean, I'm here in this teeny tiny bedroom. I miss my team tremendously because I used to go to work and my office is still there. And I think it's lonely without us. But, I never thought in my very traditional industry that we would be working from home. This was I remember going into it the first week, I was texting my longtime business partner. I was like, oh my goodness, Brandon, this is so crazy. And then he's like, what I said, I'm so overwhelmed. He's like, I know, right? I was like, I need to get back to the office. That was like therapy, like getting to work. But now that we've been in it a few months, it feels strangely normal. And I think that sort of shows how strong we are as human beings, right? The tenacity of entrepreneurs. And you're absolutely right. Both of you have mentioned this. Is like, entrepreneurs in many ways, we're programmed, like, as you both know, to just keep moving, just keep working, just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. But this situation where our venue, our stage doesn't change, right? We are home, and downstairs is home, and the kitchen is here, and the kids are here. I've got 3 little ones doing distance learning. Let me tell you, if you ever need mental health is getting 3 kids under the age of 12 on distance learning. Wow, you compete for the internet Wi-Fi speed for live streaming. but in all seriousness, but I think about this and think about what we're going through together. Do you feel like this has made you a stronger entrepreneur? Do you feel like some of the things you've learned through this experience you're going to take with you when things get back to normal? And maybe you could share with us what those things are. And I'll start with you, Janine, on this, because I like to hear and learn from you on this.
So it's been very interesting because I knew I wasn't just going to sit back and sleep in, and I love routines, and I kind of amped up my routine, and I came up with new ideas and new ways of improving my message, getting my message out there, and not just doing a radio show, but seeing how I could be of service to others and do those acts of kindness, which is why I came up with that new series to help people find work. But I've had this extraordinary opportunity to grow. It's unbelievable. Like I said, I'm editing video, I'm doing Zoom calls, I'm finessing the way I do things. And it's very exciting to me. It gives me a sense of optimism that I'm doing something that's making an impact and enabling me to become a better person. And I've taken this is a very bad situation for so many people, but I have looked at it as, I'm going to take this and make the best of it. I'm going to be a better parent. I'm going to be a better person. And, I want to make an impact.
Wow.
I love that.
That's beautiful. It sounds like you're tapping into reserves of resourcefulness that, you might not have even been fully aware were there in this time period.
I want to add one thing. I found out about this course, a Yale course by Professor Dr. Laurie Santos, and it's the science of well-being. And I was talking to somebody today, and I did a, what's it called? Your character strength survey. Maybe you've heard of this. And I found out my strengths are curiosity, which makes sense, humor, and creativity. So I think about my life, and I try to work those things into my life. And it makes sense if you think about that.
Well, I love this discussion we're having because, and Sophia, I want to ask you this because I have personally felt the same as Janine saying of going through this process. I do feel like it's made me a better person for sure, but also made me a more whole person. Like I'm spending time doing things that in the past I would say I didn't have time for. Like, although I'm working significantly more than I used to when I did go to the office, but now I'm spending a lot of time in the backyard gardening with the kids, right? Learning how to plant things, like cooking, creating things in the kitchen. Like I could even tell you, Sophia, it would blow your mind the things that are coming out of my do you feel that way? Have you experienced it yourself? Like, do you also spend a lot of time just thinking about life? Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of like time of just like reflecting on what's good about what's going on and ourselves, like that sort of like quality of life, right? I want to hear from you.
Yeah, it's a very existential time, and it's a great time, I think, to ponder the big questions, because I think solitude is a really important catalyst to reflect, but add solitude with a disruption of your usual routines, things happening on a global scale, and it definitely makes you think, why am I here? What am I doing? It might be helpful if I share a little bit background on my business. So my company is called This Same Sky, and we partner with artisans all over the world to create personal and home accessories that inspire an intentional lifestyle. So I'm actually wearing one of our scarves today. But
Which
we're
I
also,
love.
thank
love
you.
They're so pretty.
We're also a social enterprise, right? So essentially that means that, yes, we need to be profitable, but we're also guided by a greater sense of purpose and social impact, which for us is spotlighting different artisan communities, creating access to new markets and new fans for them, and ultimately helping to, oh, thanks, Winnie. And ultimately helping to preserve these traditional arts and crafts that have often been passed down over generations. So
That's wonderful.
we've always, like, a strong why has really been at the heart of our operation from the start. But I've developed a whole new level of appreciation for the power of having a clear purpose and a clear why, because it's the only thing that's remained constant. Like, our supply chain's gotten disrupted, our production timelines gotten disrupted. We've had to kind of rethink our entire growth trajectory. But in terms of what gets us up out of bed every morning, that's remained constant. And we've continually gone back to it because it's given us the strength to, rework everything else.
I love this. And I got to say, I want to thank really quick Monica, who is joining us from LinkedIn. Monica, it is wonderful to have you here. And she says mindfulness is key. And I got to tell you, Monica, I'm so excited to see you for a number of reasons, but also you are our first LinkedIn comment for on our live stream show. So welcome, Monica. Sofiya, I'm looking at your company and your website, absolutely beautiful. Let me ask you this. I'm curious, did you start this company before we went into sort of COVID shutdown, or was this something you started after? Like, I guess, how long have you been working on that project, and how did the experience that you're going through now, did it pivot your business any?
Yeah, so we started we started laying the groundwork for it almost, I want to say 8-9 months ago. But our launch was right in the middle of the pandemic. About a month into lockdown is when we launched. In terms of, sharing it with a wider public and getting our website live and all of that. I think we're definitely set to grow more slowly, and a lot of our financial decisions are going to be more conservative. But one of the things I think has been really interesting is we've been tested very quickly as a company. Usually, crises come every decade or every few years, and you get to have a sense of who you are as a company before you run into a crisis. But we kind of ran straight into a crisis just a few months into putting ourselves out there. And for us, I think it's been really, we've had to ask ourselves, what kind of relationships do we want to build with our team members and our artisans? And how do we show up in those relationships in a way that lets all of our community know that, even though we're young, we're in it for the long run, and we're going to act in relation to them and show up in a way that lets them know we want a long-term relationship.
Yeah, I love that. So it's probably a lot of communication.
Great.
Thoughtful communication. And on that, I mean, Janeane, I know that you have this amazing show called Outside the Box. I'm really grateful that I was able to be on your show. Was this a project that you came up with, or show the topic or concept that you came up with during the COVID shutdown, or was this something you had been thinking about previously? Because I know there's like a really popular YouTube channel now, Tell Me Something Good or something like that, right? And that was a concept that they had thought of a long time ago, but it wasn't until shutdown that like, well, this is the time to do it. So Janeane, talk to me about your show. Was this a new idea?
Brand new, because I had written a book called Get the Funk Out, Bleep Happens, What to Do Next. And that was because of my radio show, Get the Funk Out, here at UC Irvine. And so the book is really the focus of resilience and self-care. And I was asked to do a lot of public speaking on Zoom at the beginning of, I guess, March. And I've been doing a lot more. But I started thinking, for somebody out of work, mindfulness and meditation and all this is great. However, that's not going to help them get a job. Where are the jobs? It probably feels like a black hole submitting your resume. Where are the opportunities? How are they going to network? Whether you're a college grad or somebody in midlife, where are the opportunities? So I approached various people, a lot of them on LinkedIn, and I asked you, and thank you. And it's become this great conversation. And I was going to do it as a 10-day series, and I decided not to because it's just ongoing. As things transpire, it's not going to end anytime soon. But yes, it started really in April.
It's so fascinating that the two of you both created really, really special businesses out of a difficult time. I know Sofiya started a little bit earlier, but a lot of your building has occurred now. And I'm sure a lot of what you're experiencing today is impacting the direction of your companies and your, one of your many companies, if you will, or really your journey. So, oftentimes as entrepreneurs, we get this feeling that sort of that fear of missing out, right? We need to keep moving, we need to keep working. If we're doing a meeting or doing Zoom meeting or talking to a client or updating, like Jenny, editing videos, doing whatever, that needs to always take priority. But one thing that Sofiya, that you talked about, really the importance of time management and self-care. So, I mean, you are literally, my friend, in the trenches, right? This is like a brand new baby company. And we know that companies take a lot of time. It's literally like having an infant in the home, at home, and you're constantly on nursing duty. How do you even possibly practice self-care?
Yeah, so I think you do have to be very intentional about it. And I think you also have to be very forgiving with yourself, because it's not about always getting it perfectly. It's not always about walking around in some kind of Zen state. It's going to look messy, but I think if it continues to be a commitment, then you can actually give yourself a lot of support without it necessarily having to be perfectly neat and tidy. So the one thing that really helps me is kind of actively making space. Winnie, you talked about FOMO and fear of missing out. And when you're an entrepreneur, the to-do list is literally endless, right? Because there's always something you could be doing to advance your platform and your business. And very similar to having an infant, you can have like mommy guilt, right?
Oh, yes.
It's so real.
So I try to remind myself that like making space is very underrated. Janine, you were talking earlier about going on long walks. That's one of my favorite things to do. But I just know that to be able to listen to myself and be able to tune in to what I'm needing, whether that's, a few extra hours of sleep or time with a friend, to even be able to tune in and listen to what I need to make some space. I need to clear my work desk. I need to clear my head. And so things like taking long walks, just giving myself an afternoon to be creative and playful with no obligations. And it all, like, the ROI on that is a real thing too.
It's
because
huge.
You make space, right? Exactly, which is often overlooked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jenny, your thoughts on this too?
Back to your comment about gardening. And it's going to have a tie-in to what Sofiya just said. I eat a lot of organic produce, and I decided to take butternut squash seeds and plant them in soil. And I have probably 50 plants right now.
That's what I'm loving this.
Right. So just by taking the time, taking those breaks, when I take breaks, I come up with better ideas. I don't have burnout, which is so important because everybody's wheels are spinning so fast, and there's a lot of anxiety. There's so many emotions going on with the news. I try not to watch a lot of the news because it's overwhelming. So I try to just do a lot of stuff for my mental health too. And so that's why I bring up the gardening, because I thought, how cool. I've never taken the time to actually grow all these little seedlings and things. And it's great. We are all reconnecting with things that we overlooked or didn't take time for.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree with you more. I think I think that there's been so many silver linings going through this experience. I think as a parent and as someone who's usually in a different city almost every week, I feel so immensely grateful for spending more quality time with my children and my husband. Like a break in the middle of the day means I get to go downstairs and see the kids riding their bicycles in the backyard. I mean, how amazing. Like literally we were traveling so often because it was either I traveled for work and then I would, sock up my points and miles so that I could take my family to travel. So my kids are better travelers than most adults. And so we would always be traveling. But because of that, they were never home long enough to learn how to ride their bicycles without training wheels.
Oh.
But now that we're home all the time, it was just like that. And there's so many little things about that although I will be so glad that this virus is behind us, but I definitely want to keep a lot of the, like you said, a lot of the self-care, a lot of the awareness of mindfulness of that quality of time, the simplicity, if you will. It's almost like, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I mean, like sometimes I'm just like, gosh, I feel like with every day, I can relate a little bit more to when there are people who are living like, on the farms, like the little house in Perry where you couldn't go buy things and you had to like grind your own grain.
Exactly. My daughter had a bug bite. I'm like, throw some oatmeal on it.
It worked really well. But yeah, it's so interesting, and I'm so glad that the two of you, it's really fascinating because the three of us are here. We're in different parts of the country. Well, Jeannie and I are probably geographically a little bit closer than you, Sofiya, but we're at different stages of our lives too. So when you think about that, right? Self-care as a whole, I heard this. The reason this was sort of inspired is one of my friends on Twitter. He's a really big person on our tweet chat, Gene, who's based out of Georgia. He and his triplets and his wife had to yet again move in the middle of this craziness. I think they just moved like a week or two ago. And I remember he posted, he said, I talked to my therapist. That's what he said. He said, I talked to my therapist and she just reminded me how important it is to be kind to yourself. And so I share this with all of you out in the social media world. And that really hit home because at that time, Sofiya and Janine, I was dealing with my dad's been in ER back and forth for the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's been horrible, right? And I've been dealing with work and everything going on with her. And it was just so overwhelming. And I saw that tweet and it was just like that. Got to take a minute for myself, right? And you know what? And it was so funny because I usually don't eat lunch during work because I'm so busy, like just pushing, right? And I was like, I think I got to take lunch today, and like go down, meet my colleagues downstairs, my little guys, and it was like it just came at that right moment. And I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, we sometimes get lost in the shuffle, especially right now with, like you said, like juggling work and your employees or your remote team or your clients and who are stressed also. And then dealing with all the news on top of that and all that negativity. And so we can't discount even the strongest of people need this very important self-care awareness. So I'm learning so much from the two of you. Thank you.
One thing I want to add is that when you talk about being in the backyard or seeing things, I think we're also gaining a lot more gratitude for what we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
it's so key right now.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: what have you both, Janine? I'll start with you. Like, what are you more grateful about today that you were probably grateful for before, but it was sort of like illuminated, if you were highlighted brighter yellow right now?
Health, because I think about all the people in the healthcare field who are struggling and working, putting their lives on the line. And it's unbelievable the things they're seeing, the things they're experiencing. They're the last people to hold somebody's hand before they pass away. And even my daughter came in and she was very emotional, thinking, wow, we blessed to have, our family and we're healthy, because the people that are going through it, that are in the trenches, they have it the worst. And my heart goes out to them. Someone said there shouldn't be Emmy Awards actors. There should be awards for all the nurses and the doctors, you know?
Yeah.
What about you, Sofiya?
Yeah, so I echo what Janine said. I think health is so precious and so easy to take for granted. And the entire infrastructure that allows us to be healthy and well, and the people that power that. And I think I've also been really grateful for the gift of time. Winnie, I heard this kind of in your words too, when you were talking about just getting to be with your family more and getting to establish routines at home, share little things together. I think time is such an incredible gift, and none of us know what life might bring. And I think it makes it that much more important to be intentional with the time that we have, and then intentional with the time that we have with each other. And so I think a sense of gratitude for time and the choices that we make with that time has been really poignant for me.
I love that.
That's an excellent point. I think we're spending quality time with the people that we care about. I think we're overlooking and living life too fast.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've seen like the sort of the end product of so many of us hunkering down and staying home, right? I mean, I even see them in my tiny backyard. I'm seeing birds, like tons of birds coming, right? The worms are going crazy. I mean, like so much nature, and
the earth is healing. Yeah.
Right. It's like they're happy too. And, we're stuck at home, which is not the best, but still, like Janine was saying, it could be so much worse than just staying at home with our loved ones, right? Wow, that's
right.
Really
yeah.
But so I want to talk just really briefly. I mean, I've learned so much, and I know so many people who are watching are just really they're exactly. Chef said, wow. I feel wow just to be with both of you. Wow, experts for sure. What are you working on that we can sort of highlight? Where can we learn more about you and follow your journey? Because I know many people are watching, want to know. So let me start with Janine. Where can people learn more about you? I'm sure they want to learn about your book, your radio show, and obviously your new series.
I just updated everything. It's on my website, which is Janeane Bernstein, and nobody will be able to spell it. Up there it is. So up there is the book, Get the Funk Out, and the series. I have different speaking engagements. Everything's on there.
See, and there's
Outside the Box.
And that's the website.
Yes.
So we want to make sure, And also, she's also on social media. And yes, thank you, CK. Appreciate that, since she said it's great conversation. And lots of excellent content by my friend Robin Stevens. Yes, so true. I agree. There's so much, and I hope you will connect with Janine. She's also on all the social media handles too, like Twitter and everything else. So make sure you go to her website and follow her there, because I can see the little icons right there, and there she is on Twitter and Instagram. And so, Sofiya, we want to keep in touch with you. How can we do that, my friend?
So, Winnie, you were kind enough to share our website earlier at thissamesky.com. So you can definitely stay tuned there for updates. We're also on Instagram at thissamesky. And we're going to be selling our beautiful scarves done in partnership with our artisans in Jaipur in India in August. So keep an eye out for those when they officially launch. But yeah, in the meantime, we're just sharing a lot of great content on social and through our email newsletter on intention setting, mindfulness, self-care, all of the great stuff we've been talking about today.
I love it. Well, certainly we are under the same sky. So I will say it's a better place with the two of you here. So I feel immensely grateful for the time that you spent with me. And most importantly, make sure to follow us on social media. Tomorrow on Twitter, we're going to have a huge tweet chat that I can't wait to introduce you to. Tomorrow on 11 o'clock Pacific or 2 p.m. Eastern, right on Twitter. You can follow us at Winnie Sun. It is the largest business tweet chat on social media. And tomorrow, we're going to have what I call a super chat. We have some of the biggest legends in the business space of all different industries joining together, talking about business topics and how you can really pivot and thrive during this time for you and your business. So we're looking forward to that. It's sort of an extension of our discussions today. And thank you to both of you, my friends, for being here. We appreciate you so much and look forward to catching up with you. And definitely will be following you very carefully on your journeys, because I'm feeling like you got even bigger projects ahead.
Thank you, Winnie.
Thanks so much, Winnie. This is a great conversation. Thanks, Janine.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.